Welcome, everyone, to NFL Picksv The Spread. It's week 14. I'm Kev Manning. I'm from the Lingus Mafia podcast, along with your picks master. That's what I like to call him. He's from lockbetting.com. He's part of the sports gambling podcast. That is Mr. Billy Body.
Hey, I could have pulled one back on you last week because you actually got one wrong. Well,
Yeah.
you're actually master this year, but yeah,
It was bad.
we seem to be going wrong on the same week.
You know, it's funny, on my my show we do the Survivor pick thing, right? And I'm the last one. I've won. But officially I haven't won because for the people who are on Patreon on our highest tier, we give them 2 chances. So I have 2 people left to beat in the second chance. So I need to beat everyone with 1 chance. They all have second chances. So there's 2 left besides me in the second chance pool. So once they lose, they're done. But I got a good path, man. I got a real good path to finish the year without losing. I've been lucky pretty much, I think, like not picking Tennessee against the Jets, shit like that, you know, like the one that half the squad loses, boom, they're gone. So the ones I got left over, like I had Arizona this week, and I passed on that. And the other guy who was left with me, he had Minnesota against Detroit. And I said this last week when we were doing our bets. We took Detroit with the points. Because we're like, they play everyone too close. I go, it's divisional game. I don't trust Minnesota for shit. I would not do that. And especially in a survivor pool. And that's what happened. And like, we see this shit too much. Like when it was the 49er and the Seahawk one, I was worried because I said, this is what happened. It's you see someone looks like dog shit and they're done and they're horrible. And then it's, they're playing a rival. Here we go. You know, and they come back to life. It's nonsense. Even though that 12th man isn't there anymore because it was all 49er fans, it seemed to be. But that's the way this year is going, very goofy. And then I said, you know what? Not fair that my lock of the week was in a fucking monsoon. I go, this is unfucking believable. They couldn't do anything to... You saw how they threw the ball 3 times, Belichick. I'm like, all he did was run, and they ran the shit out of them, and that's all it took. And if the win wasn't there, they kicked those 2 field goals, and they could have had it. But you know, the score would have been differently anyway. So right away, I was like, let's pick the under. That was an immediate fucking one, you know. So
Yeah, the under was moving all day. It was like from 44 to. I think it was 39.5 by the time it started.
That's what I took. So
39.5.
Yeah, but I parlayed it with the Bills winning, so I fucked myself. You know, that's always the way it goes. I had a real bad week for betting. When it comes to college bets, like I don't know anything about these college teams, and I'll gladly admit, right? But I listened to a guy on the radio, and I just bet blindly with him. Like, usually he's pretty good. We've seen, you know, when I've given you a couple things, right? And like, we're like, oh shit, those worked out. And I'm like, you know, it's weird to bet on it because you're like, I know nothing. So blindly do it. He gave, I think it was 4 bets. Every single one of them was wrong. The only reason, one of them should have won if the guy made that dive the last second where he got pushed out of bounds and missed winning the championship game by a fucking cunt hair. But other than that, all the ones lost, and then I bet on the Raiders to win, and I bet on Arizona. Arizona's the only game I won this week when I actually put my own money on it. So it wasn't a fun week. How about you?
Yeah, well, Raiders got stitched up by a pass interference call that wasn't called. Same thing happened to 49ers. But 49ers had the ball with a chance to go 17 up. They ended up kicking a field goal. But when you're 13 up, and you only need to cover a 3-point spread, a team who really have nothing to play for, you should not be losing that game. I don't know what's going on. It's a weird season where I look at these teams and I go, I don't understand who Pittsburgh are. I don't understand who the Vikings. I don't understand who Baltimore are. I don't understand who the Browns are. I don't understand who the Falcons are. I don't understand, half the league.
Yeah.
Teams that you are starting to work out at this point. There's nothing you can do about handicapping that Monday night game. One team decided to run the ball the whole game, and Josh Allen is trying to throw the ball in a fucking storm or what. There's nothing to do about that. The Packers and the Cardinals look like the teams that are the most consistent. I know the Cardinals lost a couple of games, but they're at the point where they were like, we're not going to rush back Murray. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do that. So it was a case of like them being in a relaxed position. But when everybody's there, like they play well, they don't play down. Green Bay just beat everybody. They're not getting any respect, especially when you look at, I mean, it's moving a bit now, but even at the start of the season, they were way down in terms of the favorites for the Super Bowl in the NFC. Who else is pretty consistent? The Broncos, they beat the shit teams. They lose to the teams that you think are better than them. Like that's fine. That's the kind of team you like to be involved with. And it's really hard. I mean, the Chiefs at the moment, the Chiefs are finding a way to cash unders continuously. And last week they covered the spread as well. They're just doing the bare minimum that they can to win games. Like their defense is turning up. And do you know how many games this season, since week 3, the Chiefs have put up more than 25 points? They did it for the first 2 games. You know how many games they've done it since then? Since week 3.
No.
They've done it twice.
Jesus. The team that was scoring 50 all the time, right?
Yeah, they've scored more than 25 points twice since week 3. So they did it for the first 2 weeks. They've done it twice since there. So 4 times this season, this team scored over 25.
Wow. Yeah, that's a big. That's a big letdown from prior.
But for me, I think they'll be the team that end up getting the 1 seed. Still, I still think they'll steal the 1 seed.
I'm agreeing at this point where I'm thinking it's coming down to the Patriots and the Chiefs to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but I mean, the Patriots' schedule for the next 2 games is not easy. So we'll look at that in a minute.
Okay. Let's get into the first game, which is tomorrow on Thursday as we record here on Wednesday. It's Pittsburgh, who I was going to ask you a question about Pittsburgh, and I will in a moment. Pittsburgh versus Minnesota. Pittsburgh is getting 3 points here. I like Minnesota here to win. They're after an embarrassment of a loss. They're at home. Pittsburgh blew their entire wad on this Baltimore game and killed themselves to win this Baltimore game. I think now this is one of those games like Minnesota beats the shit out of them.
Yeah, the only thing is this weird stat with Kirk Cousins in primetime games.
Yes.
But other than that, I mean, that's more like, I don't know, I wouldn't say it's a superstition because it is a fact, but it's weird in terms of how can you not play if the TV cameras are there at a certain time of the night. It's weird. It doesn't make much sense, this trend, because he's still a football player doing what he's done throughout his his whole life, which is his whole adult life, which is playing football and throwing a ball to his receivers. And yeah, I agree. Like the team coming off the shit divisional loss against the team coming off a big emotional divisional loss, and then you have the home team obviously playing at home, and then you have like the road team. They just won at the weekend, and now they come and play on the road here in the Vikings stadium. So yeah, usually this is an easy spot to just pick. It's just obviously this one player that has a pretty poor record, and it's a significant player as well as the quarterback. So I think the Vikings, this should be close to a lock. This should be very close to a lock. Like this should be in my one. This should be my 1, 2, or 3 spot. I mean, this should really be number 1, but you're looking at that quarterback and it scares you from doing it. This will be on my card somewhere. I just need to stake it, whether it's like 1 unit, half unit, but it'll be somewhere.
So the newest rumor about, where Rodgers is going next year And I heard this earlier in the year too. And now that Ben has said he's not coming back next year, Rodgers in Pittsburgh, they immediately go to the Super Bowl, don't they?
You would think so.
Yeah, and I'm like, I think that's a really good place if he wanted to go because of they seem like his whole hard on is about how he wasn't respected, right? And it's, they didn't come to me, all that kind of shit. Pittsburgh seems to be an organization that holds their players up higher. So that's why I think he would enjoy to go there, and it's a stable, that there is no change at that place. It stays, forever, and they're always good. And it's not even just one player. It's like they have a good team because, like I said, once Rodgers goes away, all of a sudden the team is horrible. But that's already a good team. So I think if he gets there, it's they could be in the mix. It'd be him and Mahomes busy against each other for a while. Okay, we're getting into Sunday, and that is Baltimore going into Cleveland. And this is odd to me. Baltimore's getting 2 points, 2.5 points.
I thought this was odd earlier, yeah.
I thought it was wrong. I just looked at it like 3 times, and I went, am I writing this on the right side of the paper? God, I would jump on this as quickly as possible. As quickly as possible. I don't care that Cleveland had the week off. It's not like there's some, smart team that knows how to use a week off. I'm jumping on Baltimore after that whole thing against Pittsburgh. This is a team that's, pissed that they lost.
Well, Baker will be healed and
I don't know about
again.
Healed, though. He's got that shoulder. I bet you after this season is done, we're going to see that he has, like, everything in the world wrong with him. And he's going to get in surgery and get, like, a shit ton of fixed up stuff. So that'll be no wonder he was so fucking horrible this year. That's my thought. Because all of a sudden, it's just, he's not correct at all. And even if it's your opposite shoulder, you're still throwing with the pain on the other side, so it's all connected.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at this game, and what this line is telling me is this. If they played on a neutral field, I'm seeing it 2.5 as well, by the way.
Yeah.
If they played on a neutral field, Baltimore would be favourites by 0.5 point. Mm-hmm. If they played in Baltimore would be favourites by 3.5 points. That's usually how this works because you change it for 3 points a time. You take away 3, they're on the road from neutral, and then from neutral, if it's the other home team, you add 3. So there's normally a 6-point swing between one team being at home and the other. So if you add 6 to this and put Baltimore at home, they would be laying 3.5 points against Cleveland. In a weird way, that sounds about right. But it's just weird to make Cleveland a favourite when you actually do it and then you swap Baltimore from being at home, because I don't put too much weight into the home grounds at the moment. Mm-hmm. I think there was a few more a few years back where there's just places you don't want to go. At the moment, it's a handful. I don't think Patriots is one anymore. It used to be going to Gillette was horrendous. Yeah. Maybe they'll make that thing again, but I would have taken that off the list in recent years. But when you used to go to the Superdome, teams used to struggle there. They don't anymore. Teams used to struggle teams still do struggle at Lambeau. I think that's still on the list. Mm-hmm. But the list is really, really small. I would say at the moment, you don't want to go to Tampa and you don't want to go to New England. You don't want to go to Tampa. You don't want to go to Green Bay. Mm-hmm. They're the 2 places that I wouldn't want to play at.
I think KC too. KC's got the loudest stadium, so
yeah. But my point is that the list was longer. I would say off the list, I think going to the Superdome that's kind of gone away recently. Mm-hmm. Patriots, obviously, since they lost Brady, that's gone away, and definitely the 12th man, Seattle. That's not scary anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the ones that used to be are now not. So who are you taking here?
Baltimore.
Okay.
Baltimore plus 2.5.
Right. Jacksonville goes into Tennessee, and Jacksonville's getting 8.5 points. And I'm like, right when you think, oh, well, this is a slam dunk. Oh, yeah, I forget. Tennessee plays down to their opponent. So I'm like, so this means Jacksonville's going to win, right? God, I still can't do it though. I can't pick against Tennessee, even if it's Jacksonville. I would hope that Tennessee would really come back here with a vengeance. So,
this is off their bye week, and they're playing against. They didn't play last week, right? And I said I was concerned about them going on a little bit of this losing streak now because they obviously lost to Houston, and then they got pulverized the next week against the Patriots. But we're seeing that can easily happen to people now. But yeah, I think they win this. They win this relatively easily. This is the easiest game they got left, so they need to keep that distance ahead of Indianapolis.
You would think after they got to look back and go, oh, if we didn't lose to the Jets, like the shit games, you go, how did we lose to that? And their record would be, they'd be like a much scarier looking team. Las Vegas getting 9.5 against Kansas City in Kansas City. I actually like this for Kansas City. I'm off the Vegas bandwagon where I thought they were good. I guess, you lose your corner, you lose your wide receiver, you lose your coach. It finally piles up. So I think Kansas City can actually win this by 10.
I'm seeing a 9.5, but yeah, I think last it's difficult to put any points up on them. And last week, the Raiders got held to 15 by Washington. I don't know if they scored any points in the first half. So yeah, I'm going to take the Chiefs here. For me, it's just a blind play.
Yeah, it's 9.5 for me too. That's why I said I could see them win by 10. So I'm taking KC given those points. New Orleans going into the Jets. I mean, New Orleans is shit now, and it's funny because I bet a guy, I think $20 on. He said New Orleans would win this division, like after week 1. And I said, you're out of your fucking mind. And no, we had that limp noodle arm Breeze, and we still won the division. Now we're going to kill the division. I'm like, I'll take that bet all day. No problem. Now the bet's looking even better. So they're going into the Jets. The Jets are getting 5. I might take the Jets here with the points. I don't think I would take the Jets to win, but I think I will go with those 5 points.
No, I'm not going to take 5 points with the Jets. I don't think the Saints are that bad. I think that they would. I think they'll make a return here and get a win under their belt because they're still going to compete for the playoffs here in the I still think it's going to be close. But yeah, I think it'll be close in terms of them and all the Vikings for the last spot. Okay. But yeah, I think they'll win this game.
Dallas goes into Washington. Man, and Washington's getting 4. This, I still, it's like Washington has beat some good teams. Or at least they beat they beat the Bucks, which is, how's that possible? But you still don't believe in them. Like, I'm like, well, I'm waiting for these wheels to fall off. But is it a case of they got this shit together finally? It took until November and they got their shit together. This game will tell me a shit ton. And even if they beat Dallas, I don't know if I still believe it though. I'll take Dallas here, even given the 4 points.
I don't know what to do with Washington anymore at this point because they look like they were frauds coming into a few weeks after the season, where a lot of people were picking them to be challengers in this division, and now they are again.
I had them winning the division to start the year, and then I was like, "Wow, I'm an idiot," and now they're coming back strong.
This is difficult. On extended rest, Dak Prescott is 10-2 ATS and 2-0 this season. He has a better winning percentage against division opponents than Peyton Manning had, which was 70. He's got 78%, and Manning was 76. So he's like past him now. 19-7-1 ATS in his career against the NFC East. These are all like numbers that are pretty worrying, because I was thinking that Washington could win this game and really tighten this division up.
Yeah.
But usually what happens is when you see that kind of thing and you go, oh, this is really going to tighten up and we're going to get the grandstand finish. Because, that's what like the NFL want most for the for TV coverage. They want everything to be as tight as nail biting. But sometimes, that kind of shit doesn't happen. A lot of the time it doesn't happen. And you can just see Washington getting really tight here over the last few weeks, getting closer to Dallas, as Dallas are having a little bit of a dip. But I think the timing of Dallas winning that game on a Thursday as well, they won on Thursday night, having that extra rest, Dak Prescott's record as well, it was like a get-right game. And I think now they may get over that bump and put some wins together. And I think they'll beat Washington. This essentially clinches the division for me. So I think they'll be looking at this and going, if we lose, we're in a dogfight. But if we win, then we've won the division.
Yeah. This is this is Washington's stand right here. Like, if they win this, they're going to have some real, momentum and everything.
I think they are. One thing that is worth noting, though, is that the NFC East teams are now back, because obviously it was a case of you got to win the East because the East is so shit, right? You've got to win 8 games and then you win the East, right? You're only thinking normally that, or not normally, but the last 2-3 years, you're only going to get one team out of the East, which is going to be the winner. And even over the last few years, that's been a joke because it's been like a 6-7 win team. But this year, it's like the Eagles and the Redskins, along with New Orleans and the Vikings, they're all going for that last spot. Someone's going to go through a real shitty record into that 7 seed spot. And it could be somebody from the NFC East. It could be the Eagles or the football team that come in and get that last spot.
Yeah, it really.
So it's not over yet.
Yeah, that is. There's a hell of a log jam. It's like when you look at it, there's 3 teams that are really out already. It's like there's still, there's got to be craziness that happens for a lot of teams, but officially 3 teams.
That's why even Seattle aren't out. Yeah. I mean, they're too far behind for me, but even they're not officially out.
Yeah, I mean, hell, the Bears are fucking in. Give me a break. I mean, come on.
Yeah, Atlanta, Carolina, there's loads of teams that are still on the edge.
Which, I mean, I think realistically, though, everybody, they know they're done. Okay, so Atlanta is going into Carolina. My God. Atlanta's getting 2.5 points. I'm going with Carolina to win the game, but I'm sure as fuck staying away from this game completely.
Falcons showed some fight again last week against the Bucks. That scoreline wasn't really a reflection of the game, which it was tight at one point. I think that I don't want to bet on Carolina again this season. I don't think that Cam Newton thing didn't really work out for them at all.
Yeah, I laughed. They're all into this Cam Newton. I was laughing when it happened because they're screaming with the screaming I'm back and all this nonsense. And I'm like, awful. I was like he's gonna all of a sudden he's got all his magical powers back. What the hell?
Yeah, no, I think that with that, when you've got that Cam Newton situation, and now you don't know whether you bench him this week, whether you start someone else, it's a bit of a mess. If Newton plays, how good is he going to be again?
I agree with you on that. Seattle, they're going into Texas. They're going into Houston against the Texans, and Houston is getting 7.5 points.
Washington have the 6th seed right now.
They're already that little terror of a run there. They
6-6 they are. That's enough to get it at the moment. And then the Niners are 7th. They're also 6-6.
Jesus.
Behind them, it's like Eagles 6-7, Vikings 5-7, Panthers 5-7, Saints 5-7, Falcons 5-7,
Wow.
Giants 4-8, Seahawks 4-8. you only got to claw back 2 games from being down in 15th. The only team eliminated is the Lions. The Seahawks are ranked 15th. Do you know that?
Jesus.
And not out.
That's unbelievable. I mean, I guess that keeps them playing hard.
I didn't think it was as bad as this. It's backed up down to the fact that one team can't make the playoffs here in week 14.
Yeah,
week 14.
Yeah, this could come down to it's got to be week 18 that like it's finally settled. That's what I think is going to happen. It's going to be such a logjam. It's the last game that's going to get somebody in. All right. He said Seattle is giving it's 7.5 points for the Texans. 7.5. I think I like the Texans because it's 7.5.
I'd be really pissed off if Seattle did what they did last week, which was a bad loss for me, and then drop this game or don't cover or look shit in this game. So yeah, I'm gonna just bet them blindly here in this spot off the back of that, and that's it.
I'm telling you, watch this game. This has all the makings where they lose, they win a game they shouldn't, and now they'll fuck this up too. Detroit going into Denver. Detroit is getting 8.5. I actually like Detroit here with 8.5. Not to win, but to cover 8.5. They're going to be all excited from actually finally winning a game. So, and Denver's no world beater, as we well know. So if there's ever a chance for Detroit to do something again, this is.
No, I think Denver win this game and win it pretty easily. This is not a great place to go to. You did just have that emotional home win, and now you got to go to Denver. I just don't see like the Lions competing in this spot. I just don't. I wish it was less points because I don't think Denver should be 8.5 points better. I don't think they're 5.5 points better in a neutral field, and I certainly wouldn't lay. I certainly wouldn't like the look of Denver. Get Denver minus 2.5 in Detroit. Obviously using that handicapping system, but yeah, I think that Denver will win this game.
Okay, the Giants going into the Chargers. Now, you were saying you have certain teams you don't want to bet on or that you don't know about yet, right? There are two for me that are shining, blazing like attention, and it is the Chargers and it is Cincinnati. I don't know from one week to another.
They played each other last week. Let me tell you something, right? Let me tell you what happened. So I was watching this game, and the Chargers were up by 24, right? Mm-hmm. And the Bengals got it back to 22, and they were going for a 2-point conversion, which they missed, but they didn't get it. So they didn't get to level it up. But I looked at that situation, and this is the NFL, and I've watched this for a lot of years, and I posted out to my clients, and I got down myself and said, they were 24-0 up. They're a team that are like been out of form lately. They're obviously going to have their confidence severely rocked by this. This game is going in only one direction. The home team just scored 22 points in a row and are now within a field goal of this game. I laid a massive in-play down on the Bengals. The second I did it, they woke up against. That's how much I fucking hate this team. It was 2 minutes after I said this game can only go one way. I mean, look at the pattern of play. Like you don't wake up, you don't get over this. You're on the road, you've blown a 24-point lead. All the momentum is one way, and the bookies were offering me a 50-50 line on it as well. And I was like, this is ridiculous. This is not 50-50. This is 90% momentum in one direction. And it didn't even take 5 minutes before the game got out of hand in the other way. They scored like a couple of touchdowns quickly once they pulled it within 2.
I was like, I hate them both because I'm like, all right, they're on a good roll. I need to take them. And like 2 weeks ago, I said, the Chargers, this is where they make their statement. And then they got fucking whooped. And I was like, what the fuck? Who are these assholes? So I'm like, oh, I hate them. But here is I don't even want to touch this game at all because it's 10
I
points.
was favorite in the division, and I was so tempted to go to make it a fucking huge bet, but it was at a time where KC were like grinding out results, or they were losing to every team that was a Super Bowl contender. Like they got destroyed by Buffalo, and I think it was at that time that Chargers got installed as like the favorites to win this division, and it was like, whoa, this is the best time ever to take KC, because at the start of the year, this wasn't even a question who's going to win the West. Like it wasn't even a question. And then suddenly, like, there was a point in time where Chargers became the favorites, and I didn't jump on that simply because KC looked so bad, and the Chargers didn't look like they would lose enough games. And how quickly is that, like, now a month later, that just looks so different. Like KC have won every game since then.
So the Giants thing is, if Daniel Jones is still out, now the fucking geek Glennon, his head hurts. And so it could be Jake Fromm who is starting this game. And that is the I don't know question. And it's 10 points. I don't know if this Jake is going to be, all of us look at him, he's good, or if he's absolutely horrific. And I don't trust the Chargers for shit at all anymore. I am not even coming close to touching this game.
I saw that Jake Fromm. It was the same college year as Love, and who was not, and Herbert. I saw like a list of people.
I believe so. It was because everyone's called Jake Fromm State Farm. That's what they.
He was the 7th ranked quarterback in college that year. I think I saw someone posting it up, and his numbers were pretty decent. But then again, Love was 4th. So
at the same time too, is like, well, how much faith do they have if he's been around for a couple years, right? They have Glennon in front of him, and he's 3rd. So, and Daniel Jones is number 1, who isn't that great anyway. So you would think Fromm could really have moved up. And if they think Glennon is better than him, that's a problem. That's a big problem because Glennon is a disaster.
But they'll run the ball, which you can do against the Chargers. So I tell you, I think one of the best bets here would be to take the under on this total.
Yeah, because I don't want to touch anything with either of these teams to bet on, other than that's a good alternative.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be 44 points in this game.
The San Francisco 49ers going into one of the teams we just spoke about, and that is Cincinnati. Cincinnati is getting 1.5. So it's basically, do you think the 49ers will win this game? Then pick the 49ers. Which Cincinnati shows up? If it's the good Cincinnati, they should beat the shit out of the 49ers. I'm taking the 49ers and giving those points.
No idea. Apparently Joe Burrow's got a finger injury.
Yes, it's his pinky, which is what's on the ball most.
Yeah.
Well, not most, but a lot.
So, yeah, I think last week the 49ers lost in a divisional game where, the team just got massively up for it and overperformed. But at the same time, you shouldn't be losing those games. Like, because that's essentially going to be what the playoffs is if they get there. Mm-hmm. It's going to be teams that massively get up for a game with their crowd there and whatnot. So, I feel like they'll win this game. I don't like them as a favorite. I would like this to be more like the Baltimore line, where I'm taking a team where it's like, I'm going to take the underdog here I'm taking 2 even teams where I take the underdog. It's not that they think that these 49er team are better. Nothing that they've done this season warrants this though. Like this whole thing where they say they're a good team, they're a good team, they're a good team. They'll come good. They'll go on a run or whatever. They haven't done it. They're like 5-6, or 6-6. Sorry. So they are very much win lose. I'll take them to win this, but it's not a confidence pick.
Okay. Buffalo is getting 3.5 going into Tampa. It hurts to say, well, Buffalo is going to lose again and have a back-to-back, but Tampa Bay is great at home. And I think it continues here. And I think Buffalo's a little. I think Buffalo might be playing a little tight now, like they're worried, because this division is now slipping away from them, and right back to the champs who always had their number, and now it's going right back again. So I will take Tampa Bay to win and cover here.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to stop. You got 3.5. I've only got 3.
3.5.
It's just 3 here. Yeah, I don't know how they stop Brady. Their offense has been inconsistent all year, like the Bills has. I still think
hand it off to Fournette. I mean, Christ, they knew that New England was going to run the ball, and they couldn't do shit about it. That's the scary part. It's all we're going to do is run the whole entire game, and you guys can't stop shit. So I think that's what everyone should do on them now.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know how they control this offense because they've got that. They've got that Fournette factor. And that'll be essential when you have short distances to cover on third down or if you want to go for it on fourth. Obviously, like Brady's record this year is ridiculous. I mean, he's had a shitty schedule. So he's been able to score all these touchdowns with an easy schedule. But still, at the end of the day, it's there. It's on paper. He's done what he needed to do. I just don't think the Bills are as good as people thought they were at the start of the year. Mm-hmm. But I still don't think this division's over because when the Patriots come back, they travel to the Colts, who I think have a better running game than New England do, and a better quarterback as well. So that's just gonna, that's going to be a difficult game to come back to. Although Belichick off a bye is tough, and then when you go back to New England, it's going to be a different game against the Bills when it's not in the fucking snow.
Yeah,
and
monsoon.
Allen can actually convert passes. So that's the 2 games they come back to. After that, it's pretty straightforward. So in terms of finishing 1 in the division and definitely winning the AFC East, I think it's beyond Buffalo to win the AFC East now, but I'm not sure the Patriots will be number 1. But yeah, as for this game, it's hard for me to see Tampa not finishing number 1 now after they get through this game. I think they look at this game as the most important game that they have left on paper in terms of difficulty. And then after that, let me just double check what I'm saying here because I looked at this before. So Tampa are ranked number 3 at the moment with a 9-3 record, behind Green Bay and Arizona at 10-2. I'm a little bit worried about Arizona because I can't see where their losses are coming either. So if the Bucs get past this, then they have the Saints at home, the Panthers are on the road, the Jets on the road, and the Panthers at home again. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So the 14-3. I don't know if you remember this. I don't know if there's any audio of this, but the 14-3 was the exact record that I predicted for the Bucs at the start of the season. And I actually have a couple of the losses spot on as well. I definitely know that I picked them to lose their first game against the Rams. That was 100%. Looking at the Cardinals schedule, here we go. Their hardest game is also this week. They play the Rams, and then after that, they go away to the Lions. They're at home to the Colts. Oh, they go away to the Cowboys. That's difficult. And then they finish up against the Seahawks, who will be done by then. So yeah, they have a more difficult schedule, but they also have 1 win more than everybody else. But for me, it's difficult to see the Bucs not finishing as the 1 seed. So I'm going to take them to win this game because I think they'll be looking at that as well. Realistically, they all do the interviews and they go, any given Sunday, we got to give it 110%. Everybody in the NFL is tough. No, bullshit. Like, you're looking at this game and going, if we win this, we can win out.
Yeah. I'm agreeing. I agree with you on this. The last Sunday night game. It's our boys. It's Chicago going into Green Bay. And the Bears are getting 12.5 points. And Fields is now going to start this game, which...
He put an updated line because we're way off on this total.
Yeah, I looked. I was writing it down while we were actually doing the show.
Look at mine.
What do you?
I'm not even going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You just read it out.
Okay.
Because this is when we have like wide discrepancies. And
let me check ESPN again and see if it's changed.
Does ESPN update like a betting site though?
Yeah, they do, because sometimes it's gone. Yeah, it's 12.5 for me still. Let's see, okay, now let me look at yours. Yours is 10.5. Wow, 10.5. Yeah, that's a difference, and that's from the quarterback being changed. That's all that is. Let me go to my betting website and see if it's 10.5.
What, your quarterback's changed? So Fields is playing.
Fields is playing, yeah, which I think is the coach trying to save his life. The guy has injured, ribs, and they go, okay, well he's okay now, and I'm like, why don't you even just make it another week to go? I mean, put in Foles. They have 3 fucking guys who could start. So I'm like, I don't know why you don't do that. Let me see. I'm going to my actual betting site to see if anything has changed there. And it is 12.5 on my betting site. Huh, that is interesting. So, 12.5. I think I'd take the Bears with 12.5 because it's that backdoor. They could be losing by 17 with 2 minutes to go. And what's going to happen? They're going to go, who gives a fuck? And they're going to back up and let them score. And they'll walk down the field, and it'll take that long. And they'll score. And then it fucking looks like, oh, wow, they only lost by 10. And be like, yeah, well, they were losing by 21 the whole game. So, whatever. It is very interesting listening to my Chicago radio stations. You would think, because obviously, it's everybody always go, oh, it's Packer week, because it's the oldest rivalry ever in sports, right? Other than Yankees and Red Sox. But it's the longest football. And it's Packer week. They all want this game to be like 50-0 because they want this coach gone. And the scary thing is, do they, by accident, there's always a bite in the ass sometimes, right? Do they, all of a sudden, Fields throws for 300 yards and they pick them apart and win the game? And it's just one of those bad games like the New Orleans game, right? It just is. He hurts his toe, whatever. And they go, this saves the coach's fucking job, because they go, look, he's now good. And it's like, oh no. So everyone is rooting for the Packers to win this game. And because the management, the ownership says this is the most important game to us. It's the tradition. It's the most important game. So if their most important game loses by 50 fucking points, I don't know how he's on the plane to come back home. So, and now this new NFL schedule, or the new rules, you can start looking for coaches and interviewing people with 2 weeks left in the season. So why not get a jump on it? Fire the coach now, and you can start looking sooner. So, but 12.5 points, I think the Bears will cover 12.5.
Well,
but I hope not.
I got 10.5.
Okay. But you want 12.5?
No, I got 10.5.
Yeah, but do you want 12.5? Which one?
I think Green Bay will cover it either.
Okay.
I don't care about Fields if he's not healthy, or even if he's just come back from not being healthy. I don't think he'll make it. Packers on a bye. 10-2 ATS this year. 5-0 at home. 10 straight primetime games. 9-1 ATS on primetime. Aaron Rodgers owns his team. He told them.
You know what's funny? Speaking of that, right? If you're on the other side, if you are on any other team, Joe Blow says, I own you. Do you put that in your head and go, say it's your soccer people, right? The team you hate says that to your team. Do you, as a human being, put that in your file cabinet and go, when I play this guy again, I am going to make sure I hurt him. I am going to do something I would be angry if I was the other side.
Okay, but I think there will be an awareness of that, and then it's going to be roughing the passer, 15-yard penalty,
I think they'll step on his toe, though. That's what.
It'll be all the refs will know that coming in, and I think there'll be a lot of, calls. I mean, then again, he's not vaccinated, so
they're gonna stay away.
Yeah.
Well, my thought here, though, is because I said this is our human nature, right? You would want to do that. From what we all hear, they don't. They're like, whatever. Like, nobody cares because they're getting paid millions. What the fuck do they care? This is not the old time where you're with the same team forever. They don't give a fuck, which is more baffling to me that they don't give a fuck, that they were insulted. Like, they're not going to try to fucking hurt them. I'm like, if this is even the 80s, they're trying to break somebody, And I'm like, wow, okay, they don't care. So it will be interesting to see if we see any cheap shots or anything like that. I'd respect them more if they did try to do a cheap shot than if they just play normal. Because then if they play normal, nobody gives a fuck. That's what it's going to show me. They just don't care. I don't say, oh, it was a stupid move, because they're not going to win this game anyway. It's not, I mean, if they're down 3 points, then okay, you're a moron for trying to, rough the passer. But they're going to be losing early badly. So at that point, gives a fuck. Get in trouble,
Why did you take the points then?
I think it's the back door. I think they could be losing by 17 with 2 minutes left, and they'll just let them score. That's my problem. I could see them losing by 21, but when it gets to the fourth quarter with 8 minutes to go and they're losing by 21, they're not gonna fucking be playing hard. And if they're losing by 21, do you think your starters are playing? They're gonna have all backups in the fucking game. That's the only way. I think it's going to be like the score is not going to show what really happened, because the Arizona game, they lost by 11. They scored at the end of the game when it was fucking over. They were losing by 18. They didn't care at that point. So I'm like, yeah, it's let them walk down the field. That's what we see constantly. And hey, I'm going to be rooting for 50-0. I want them to get fucking embarrassed, because that's the only way shit's going to fucking change over there. But I think it's a backdoor cover. That's all.
I bet my 100 already on this game just now.
Oh, $100. We heard it live, ladies and gentlemen, live. And he's only got 10. I got 12. I should have jumped on mine over here. The Rams on Monday going into...
It's different. You want to jump on the 12 for Bears. I'm not jumping on the 10 for Bears, am I?
No, it's even less. Yeah, you're right. The Rams are going into Arizona.
I'm saying you to bet. You can see I just bet it, like right now. Okay. Just time and everything.
There he is. Fucking lost his mind. $100 bets. I think I'll die. Oh, by the way, we just got in the mail today. How about this? The state of California give us stimulus checks. And I'm like, I didn't even know this was coming. I had no idea. $600. Here you go. I'm like, thank you. For? Just for because of pandemic stuff. They just give us money. Here you go. You might need this. Okay. I'll take it. What can I go buy now? $600. Shit, that's nice.
That doesn't make me suspicious about this whole thing.
We were getting checks when it first happened. Trump was sending out the checks. Remember that whole deal? We were getting all that. And then there was like a second wave of checks. And it was like, I think it was $1,200 we got first. So I'm like, fuck, I thought this was done with, but I just got another check in the mail, which I'm not going to complain about it. The Rams are getting 2.5 points from Arizona. I don't know what's wrong with the Rams. Maybe all of a sudden, if they beat the Arizona Cardinals, and it'd be like, oh wow, okay, maybe they're back then. I think Arizona is not taking them lightly. Arizona is at home. They're going to have their full everybody after a whole week of playing and back into the groove a little bit. I think their practice game was Chicago, which was very interesting because it was raining and slipping, and they were still playing with ankle and hamstring and fine. So I take Arizona here and give those 2.5.
Yeah, I don't know. There was that get right sort of game last week for both of these two teams, but especially Arizona didn't need to get right, but for the Rams, they were losing all of those games. I remember they were favorites at Green Bay, and they're not favorites here. So what's the indication here that the Cardinals are a better team than Green Bay? I don't get that.
No, I think it's people saw more and realized they're not as great.
Yeah, I don't know.
They barely got past Jackson. It took a while with Jacksonville. They were hanging on.
For me, this comes down to how badly injured Stafford is, because this should be a revenge spot. I remember how the Rams started the season, and it was that game against the Cardinals where you really looked at it and thought, wow, okay, so either the Cardinals are good or the Rams have got issues. But it came the week, it was excused because it was the week after they beat the Bucks, and everybody said, oh, they've come from beating the Bucks, and this was a big letdown spot and everything, and it was brushed aside. I don't think the Rams are as good all round as they were supposed to be, but I also don't think the Cardinals are either. I'm going to take the Rams to win this game, just to open this division up a bit. And I mean, teams need this. Packers need this. The Bucks need this as well. We looked at the Cardinals' schedule. It's pretty straightforward, other than like a trip to Dallas afterwards. But they're a game up anyway. So winning this game really does put you pretty clear. I think they'll be going all out to win the game. Like you said, everybody's back and whatnot. But we'll find out if the Rams are actually good, because they're rated pretty highly by people in terms of being favorites at Green Bay. I don't think you look at that game and go, well, that's it now. We're never going to make them favorites again. And our power rankings with them have dropped significantly to the point where all faith has been lost in this team. But it's not an easy pick. There's not a lot of easy, clear-cut stuff on this show. I mean, sometimes you can have a clear-cut selection and it can be completely wrong. That's why I've got fucking 6 locks wrong this year. So that's not a case. They were all clear-cut selections. They were the clearest cut selections on an entire week of games. So yeah, it's been a weird year because I don't usually get 6 locks wrong 13 weeks into the season.
So speaking of locks, here is my lock of the week. And I think me and you are both thinking of just 2 teams anyway. So I think if one takes one, the other one's going to take the other one. I will lock up Baltimore getting 2 points, 2.5 points even, going into Cleveland. That'll be my lock of the week. Billy, what is your lock of the week? I'm wondering if I'm right about my thought.
Oh, you think it's going to be why I sent you to bet from?
No.
Oh, what did you think it was going to be?
I think it's going to be Minnesota.
No, I'm not going to do the Thursday night game just because of the Kirk thing. I will probably have a bet on that. I'm not going to have Green Bay either, simply because I'm getting 10.5 and you're getting 12.5. And for me, like, that's pretty wide out in terms of, in terms of people going, oh, I know I'm going to get it. It'd be like, I post it out at 10.5 and a lot of people will say, oh, I didn't get that. Like, what's your second choice or whatever?
Yeah, so I wonder what that is. I wonder if in America we have that much of a different line, or do they? No, I don't understand.
I don't have a 12.5. I do have 11.5s or 10.5s. I have both those. I don't have a 12, but I do have 11.5s and 10.5. So even with that said, it's a difference maker because none of these are key numbers though. 10, 7 key numbers. So if you actually got it down to 10, it would make a bit of a difference. No, mine's going to be Tampa -3.
Okay.
I just don't think that the Bills go into Tampa and win. I don't know what the game plan is to go into Tampa and win. Whereas on the other side of the ball, the other team, you've got a decent defense. You've got Brady like making passes. You've got Fournette who can run at you, implement what you saw last week. Bills played on Monday in a fucking really horrendous game. and they've had less. It's only a day's less rest, but still, it's a road game here against the number one power rank team. For me, this. I'm surprised it's just 3 points.
Okay, so you have it at 3.
Yeah.
Okay, because on mine is 3.5, so I will say for 3. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to go see all my nonsense, it's just all at Lingus Mafia. That is anywhere you look, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, wherever. Just type up Lingus Mafia. You'll see what I have to do. Billy is at Lock Betting, and he is part of the Sports Gambling Podcast. He has tons of packages. It is early right now and to sign up for a package, Billy. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, it's early in the month. There's still loads of stuff. There's all the end of the NFL regular season finished in December. I think there's 1 week that goes into January now. Then there's NBA picks every single day, which we're doing really well with. And, of course, like soccer, it's hectic soccer season. There's 4 games in 12 days over Christmas. That's what these soccer players play. Some of them are playing 4 games in 10 days, but between 10 and 12 days, these guys will play 4 games. So it's very much like, I mean, obviously you want to get in at a certain point, but at the moment, it's still like the month has just started because there's so much more stuff going on this month. Unfortunately, like one of the things I think was a big betting thing was Tommy Fury and Jake Paul. Mm-hmm. But I now think it's Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley, so you're getting a fight this month as well.
Well, there you go. You want to sign up to get all of his betting packages. He's on a roll, as you know, over 102 months in a row. So you want to get in on that. We'll even just stop saying after we got to 100, we were like, okay, well, that's what we're going to just say, over 100. So that's it. If you want to join us next week, we will be here and try to get you some money. It's a bounce back week. That's what we got to do. It's time to bounce back. And talking about betting on NBA, I've been busy with NBA too because of the Bulls. The Bulls are fucking hot to the touch, babe. And so we're going to see what they could do with all my betting too. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Cav. That's Billy. Go make that money.
He could go.